Welcome back to Rose Lane, everyone. First, I want to apologize. I had promised to put up a video last night, and I tried. I did the video, honestly. It was a little longer than I would have wanted it to be. For any of you who know what it's like to upload a video to YouTube, it seems to take twice as long to upload as the length of the video is. So I was up late trying to take care of that. Had some trouble trying to get the computer to recognize it so that I could upload it. That took a while. When it finally started uploading, and it was, gosh, well into, I don't know, close to 2 hours or something like that, maybe a little bit before, I suddenly got a little message that said, oops, something went wrong. So it didn't upload the video, and I was just tired. So I decided I would just come back tonight. When I tried to look for the video again today, I just couldn't seem to find it in the computer, and I don't know. So I was like, you know what, we're just going to start again. So I did get some stuff done in our accordion book here. Actually, let me push this stuff aside, because this is what we're going to be working on later, but let me show you what I have done. Oh, see, my goodness. What I have done so far. So what I did last night was I cut this and I put it in the book, and I made these tags for the book so far, but I knew that I wanted to do a little bit more of something on them. I'm not really sure exactly what I want to put on them at the moment, but we're going to get to that. So what this was some sari silk. I'll just review a little bit. I used the Uhu glue. I put it down kind of a lot, and then you just sort of smush it and squeeze it and pinch it into place, and you can see how well that holds once it's in place. Same thing on the cheesecloth here. So the cheesecloth is just regular white cheesecloth, which, like I do with everything else, I dye it with my ink. And so are these ribbons, and these ribbons are the colors that I've chosen. They're over here. The colors that I've chosen to go with this book. So we're going to be using this a little bit more because the other book was more of a quote-unquote field book. This is a little bit more about butterflies and dragonflies. So I'm going to put a little bit more feminine, I guess, a little bit more lace, a little bit more ribbon into these. So anyway, this is as far as I've gotten on these, and these are all dragonflies. And there's something I still have to do, which I'll explain when I get to another spot. Actually, right here. On this page, I'm going to take the other one out, and this is where we are with the 3 tags and the little field notes book that was in here, and a couple of butterflies on this page. So that's this page here. And on the butterflies, I did I can get it to show. I'm going to wiggle it. I don't know how much it's going to show, so I'm just going to kind of wiggle it under the light. And you can see that I put the wink of Stella on there. Let me show you that. Well, actually, here's one. Comes in the package like this, at least the ones I get do. Wink of Stella brush. I get the just clear one. It does have some colors, but I've never tried those. I just try the clear ones. I just like the little bit of sparkle, the little bit of, I don't know, something that it gives. So it looks like this, and you just squeeze it here, and it kind of comes down and into the brush, and you just brush it on. This is all you do, and it brushes right on. And it really does make whatever you're putting it on, it makes it sort of pop and almost gives it a little bit of a 3-dimensional look to it. It's really, I don't know, I just like it. Anyway, it's not that expensive really when it comes right down to it. It lasts a while, and if you're not overly zealous with it, it lasts a while. And I usually put it on the wings of butterflies and the dragonflies. I did not get it on here yet, but I will. We'll go back and do that, and on this one as well. So this is something else that I did last night as I put this little book together. This was, again, just the, I'll think of it the elastic. It was white. I threw it in a little bit of ink and it made it sort of this putty color, I guess, if you can see what kind of color that is. So, and we put the pockets in here and sewed it in. Now, well, it's not sewn in, it can come out. My machine last night, I'm going to take this out and show you just what I was dealing with. My bobbin went weird last night, and just look at that. Look at that mess. Isn't that a shame? Anyway, I'll pick this out and I will resew it. I did fix the bobbin last night, so now it's hopefully going to sew nice for me tonight, because there are a few things that I want to get sewn tonight. So that is what I did last night with that. Here's the pockets on the side. I just haven't made anything to go in the pockets yet. So we're putting that back in here. If I can get it back in here. I did put a little bit of a gusset in these pockets to kind of help it a little bit to hold the bulk. This one laid flat too when I first put it in, but you can see that after a while of having the book in it, it sort of molds itself to the shape of the book, and it goes in and out a whole lot easier. So the same will happen with this one. This will give a little bit and kind of mold to the book. So the next thing I did was this page, which had the paper clip on it and these little tabs, and it opens up. So this is the other book. This is the new book. This has fairies on it, and this opens up this way, just like the other one. And this has this little tuck on here, but I still have not yet put a card in here. And as a matter of fact, I think the card I wanted to use, I don't have downstairs, but I don't think we're going to finish this tonight either. I don't want to make this video too long. So, and as you recall, this was glued down. That was the trifold that just opens up like that, and depends on how you want to fold it. And that just goes back in here, and then this goes back down here, and the paper clip back on here. So I'm just going to try to stick that back on. This page I started. This one as well. This is this page, okay, with the two envelopes, and oops, and that was this one. Now with the kits that I chose, they didn't have all the elements that this one kit had, and this was just the one kit. This was just, I think, for the most part, I think just the two cards in the back that I added in so that I could have that pink color more. This all came from the two kits from Andrea and Tracy. So in these kits, though, that I used, it didn't have all these envelopes. So this is Artie Mae's Dragonfly Dreams, and this is going to have a little card in it. Well, actually, a little book in it, which is somewhere here. That's this. So I did this last night, and this was just a card. This was just a card, and this card was bigger. So what I did was I just cut this card down to this size, and because when you put the two pieces together, if you glue it flat like this, which you would, when you close it, it would separate a little bit, and it would show you the tea dyed paper, or coffee dyed paper in this case, that I glued it to. So I just took a little bit of that washi tape, I took it in green, and I just glued it down and then just trimmed the corners with my scissors, so that gave it a little binding. Tonight, one of the things that I'm going to do, I hope, is to sew this in, and hopefully it'll work. And what I said last night, and I don't know if you can see that, I'll bring it up just a little bit. I draw just a light line with a pencil down the center of the seam there, the fold, because once I lay it flat on the machine and the light comes on, I have a hard time seeing exactly where the middle is. So I just draw that little line, so it helps me to just go along with that. So that's something we're going to sew tonight, and then that goes in this little envelope, and it'll hook over. The other thing, I'm going to just stick, well, you know what, I'll put that over here. I didn't have big envelopes. We had this little one from the Dragonfly Dreams, but there was no big envelope like this one. There was no larger one. And I had two of them, actually, because I have one on the other side. So what they did have was, if I can find it here, let me just take this off. What they did have was a regular envelope like this. They had a regular envelope, so in the Dragonfly Dreams. So I decided to take this and use this one. This we're going to line with coffee dyed paper, and then that will go in here. And this is going to hook on the side over here. It gives a little bit more pop to this page as well. And then in the other book, we had the tag that went with the envelope. So here we have a tag. And that I also finished, but I didn't put a hole in it or a ribbon or anything yet. So that's where we're going to start tonight, I think, by getting this stuff together and doing this. So we have a few things. So I made this envelope out of this paper here. I just made this envelope. And we'll put in here what I put in on the other side, which was... I think it's on, or maybe it's on this side. I think I'll do the pad, or maybe I'll just fold a few pieces of paper and put it in there. It just depends. It might just depend on how well my machine decides to work for me tonight. So anyway, that's where we are with these. So I'm just going to clip this back so I don't lose them, because, you know, once they get away from you, they tend to disappear. And this is something that we're going to cover with a coffee dye paper. On this side, I did fussy cut out a dragonfly that you can probably see that I put Wink of Stella on. I still have another one that I have to fussy cut, and I'm going to put him down here, sort of like how we did the butterflies over here. Well, not sort of, exactly like we did the butterflies, but since this was dragonflies on this page, that's what I decided I was gonna do. So I also cut out, and we're probably gonna, for time's sake right now, we'll probably skip over this. We'll go to the back and we'll do this trifold piece. And that's about all I want to put in the video for tonight. And then I'll come back again and we'll finish off these little pockets, this muslin pocket that we have to make, which will take a minute, and finish off these pieces as well to put in that pocket, and do the over the page tag that I have here, this over the page, and then the ones that open up like this from the page, and that'll be on another night, and hopefully we'll be able to get all of that finished and get to the cover as well, so we can get the cover finished, because I don't have that ready yet to go. So that's sort of where we are. So when I do sew, I'm going to try to do it quickly. Don't know if it's worth talking, and I don't edit, as you probably know, because I don't know yet how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run over to the actually I'm going to sew this one in, and then I'm going to wait on these until we're ready to do this, which will probably, you know what, I'm just going to wait for this one. We'll wait for that one because you don't need to hear me sew that. Let's work on this piece. Okay, put that over there. So what we're going to do here is we need to decide from our either scrap paper or some new paper. Oh, and that, let me show you this. Let me reach over here. These are the paper pads, and I might be a little close, so I'm going to leave them on the table. These are the paper pads that I used for the paper, for the background paper. So if I flip them this way a little bit, you'll be able to see, probably blowing things off the table, but you'll be able to see some of the paper that's in here. It's quite a big pad. I think it was 180 sheets. There's 60 designs in here, so there's 3 of each paper, and you can kind of see by the perimeter here, this is a sample of each one of the papers that are in this kit. This was, like I said, at Hobby Lobby. It's $19.99 regular retail, but at least at that time, I don't know if that's still going on. At least at that time, anything that was the Paper Studio was 50% off of the retail price. So I got this book for $10. So even if I don't use every piece of paper in here, because I'm not crazy about every piece of paper in here, for what I am going to use, I got a bargain. I think that's great. It would be nice to know that that's still going on, because I would actually go back and get this again just for the few pages that I would like to use. So we have that one. And then the cover, which was this. Well, let me show you the back because you can see that better in the back. Which was this piece, came out of this book, which is Our Family Tree, which is also the Paper Studio, $19.99, and I got that as well for $10 at Hobby Lobby. Again, it was 2 years ago, and it was South Carolina. I would like to hope that you're able to get it again. But this had some, papers in it that we had butterflies here, but I didn't want to just keep butterflies. It has some really, really pretty paper. Some of it doesn't work for what we're doing here, but some of it could work quite nicely. Actually, these are some beautiful pieces of paper in here. So that's where I got the piece for the cover. So I just wanted to show you that. I just knocked my little cover down on the floor. So anyway, so that's where those came from. And then, like I said, I'll list everything else in the comments in the description box about where I got everything else. And this one is Tracy Fox from Love Junk Journals. And like I said, the most of the Dragonfly pieces, for the most part, was Artie Mae's Dragonfly Dreams. The main pieces of other paper in the book were Kelly's Crafts by Kelly, which was Thistles and Wings, and that's where the most of the some other Dragonfly things and the fairies that I had on that flip open piece came from there. So and like I said, there may be little bits and pieces here and there that may have come from somebody else. I'm going to try to keep track of that, and I will list that all down in the description box below. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get started on this. And now this was meant to be a trifold, and you can see that she has put these center pieces down that should be the seams, okay, or not the seams, I'm sorry, the spine for each one of the folds, which works great for what I'm doing, except I really don't want to keep the paper because I really do want to put the muslin on it. So what I'm going to do, let me move these out of the way because one of these days I'm going to get a ruler that's a little shorter to work with than this gigantic thing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here. Let me make sure that, get that out of the way, that you can see where I am. And I'm just going to cut down. I want to make sure I'm just cutting where I want. I'm just going to cut down here. This one's a little easier to find. And here. And here. So we're just cutting these little spine pieces out. Oops, it would help if I was like on the paper. Okay. And this one, which I have to turn around to do. This one here. Okay, get rid of these. Then what I want to do is decide what paper I want on the inside. And now that you've cut them apart, you can also decide where you would want to put them. Because now, frankly, I've mixed them up and I don't know what was where. So you can decide which one you want for the cover. Maybe you'd want this, maybe you'd want this. I really kind of, I think I like this for the cover. And I think I'd like this, the cover, the inside flap, so this would be the back. Okay, so that's how I want them to go, this way. And I have to decide, it's going to be on this. So what paper would I want to line it with? The other one I lined with this dark paper here. The other field book, well, not field book, but the other little notebook that I showed you in the beginning. So I think I would actually, and I'm going to take a bigger piece because I've been picking at the other one. I think I'd like to line it with this green, which is what I used on the spine here. That's my washi tape that I have to cut off yet. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to turn it this way only because it's got sort of a, not really a stripe, but sort of a stripy pattern. So I'm going to turn it that way and keep the lines going in that direction. And I'm going to glue these down to this from the back. So, and it doesn't really matter, you know, what order you're gluing them down in, because, oh, and I do want to ink, because they're going to be loose, and you're going to cut them out and then just put them together with the muslin. So it doesn't matter where you're gluing them down. So I do have to ink, get rid of my white lines, little white edges. And something else that I was showing in the video last night, because some of the Dragonfly Dreams, you could see that this is a little more grungy and a little more, you know, inked up in the pattern itself. And then the Dragonfly Dreams, and some of it is, but some of it isn't. Some of it's a little lighter. And the ones that I had chosen were a little bit lighter. And I wanted them to look like they went a little bit better with the other paper that I was using. So I decided that I just wanted to ink them a little bit more. So I've already done that, but I'm trying to think if there's anything I can find that's just hanging around here that isn't necessarily, because I don't think I have another one of the Dragonfly Dreams out. All my paper is to my right and behind me over here. And one day I may show you how I keep my papers. I'm just going to cut one of these out real quick. This is the old Design Shop, as you can see, Shabby Florals. I'll cut one out quickly and show you what I mean. Normally I just sort of go around the edges, and I'm not very particular, because for the most part, those nice dark edges that you see on old paper is really caused by the oil from people's hands that have handled the paper over the years. We leave behind oil from our hands. You know, some of us may not realize it. I'm not cutting very well, but it can be fixed later. Let me put this way. So that's really what makes the color or the paper discolor, is the oil from people's hands. So they're touching it in different places. So it doesn't have to be perfectly perfect. It can go in a little bit. It can have a, you know, parts a little further in, because over 100 years people have been handling this and touching it, and that's what's causing this discoloration in part. And then the yellowing, the basic yellowing, is coming just, you know, from the age and the acids usually that are in, or that the paper has come in contact with. So when I normally ink, I just sort of do this. And if it gets a little funky, it's okay. It can go a little closer to the edge, it cannot go, whatever. But if I want it to look a little darker, if I want to bring it in because this is still not matching this, then what I do is I do this. I put it down and I just sort of go back and forth. I just use plain old copy paper. So, and I glue everything to something, because I'm not like, I can't think that far ahead to think what I want it printed on. So I just print it all on copy paper and go with it later. So that goes a whole lot faster by putting it down and pressing that way than trying to, you know, trying to get it that way by holding it. So, and now it looks a little bit more in tune with that than it did before, like this. So anyway, so that's just a little by the way, as one of my seminary professors used to say. She used to give us little by the ways. So anyway, what we're going to do then now is just glue these down to the paper. If I can do it quickly enough before the glue starts to dry. And I think it was in last night's video that I said I can't make a straight line of glue. I don't have that kind of steady hand, I guess, at least when it comes to this kind of thing. So I just try to get as close to the edge as possible. What I like about putting these things down now, I mean, I did cut these with the straight edge, but that doesn't mean I cut them straight. I might have cut a very crooked straight line, if you know what I mean. So lining it up on here, hopefully this page is straight. So, because I haven't cut it yet. So we're going to put that one there. I'm going to get the next one and get this little guy. I know there's a lot of other people who have these glue bottles that have the little pin in the top, which is really neat, but I've tried that before. And a couple things have happened to me. Even though I believe I had stainless steel pins in, if you don't get to it soon enough, it will rust. And I have actually glued it into the bottle, where I go to pull it out and the pin and the little pearl head or whatever comes off, and the pin's now stuck in the bottle. So I don't seem to have any luck with those. I don't know. I just don't have any luck with them. So I found these little guys, and they have this little plastic or rubbery whatever little thing that goes on it, and actually that works really well for me. The only time I ever had a casualty with that one is it was near something. I was holding something up to cut, and it was very nearby, and somehow I managed to just cut. I just cut it. So, and that would be this one right here. I just cut it right off. But anyway, so yeah, I guess nothing's infallible. But I do like these. I just have to remember to hold it down when I'm gluing. But I can't lose the pin. I can't glue it in. As long as I don't cut it off, I'm doing okay. This one works better for me, and it still is one of these fine little, little points, little openings, so the ink can the glue can come out as heavy or as light as you want, depending on the pressure you put on the bottle. So it does work for me. So I'm going to put this one down here. I really don't. I'm going to try not to get this video to be too long, honestly. But you all know it takes a while to put pieces together, and some more than others. And I'm not doing any, I'm just going to cut these by hand because I think this is going to go a little quicker since I've got something to guide me. I'm not, oh, I forgot what I was going to say. I do that all the time. So I'll just start on another subject. If you could only know how often that happens, and anybody who knows me, they know. They just know. So, and eventually I'll come back to it. I'll remember. And maybe. And I'll come back to it. So otherwise, I'm hoping that everybody is doing well and staying well and being well, and praying that friends and family of yours are well and safe also. I know that in many of the countries where the lockdowns had started previously to America, that a lot of them have opened up. Now, where I am, I'm just outside New York City, in New Jersey, in northern New Jersey, and we are still on lockdown, though the governor has opened up a lot of things. We're hoping that people stay compliant with the minor restrictions that he still has in place, and that they will abide by that. We're still wearing masks out in public to go into stores, as a matter of fact, or any public place. And many places like that have signs up that you're not allowed in yet if you don't have a mask and gloves. You have to have gloves on as well. So my husband and I keep masks. Well, I have them in my purse, and he has them in the car. And we keep gloves in our car, and we have hand sanitizer. So we're still doing all of that, even though that they've started to open up some things in the state anyway. So there's many places in the U.S. where most of these restrictions have been lifted. I think if you've been listening to any news from around here, you'll know that some of the states that haven't been very compliant are finding a resurgence. So we're not out of the woods yet with this stuff. I'm hoping it's soon, though, because I'm losing my spring. I wait all winter for spring. and I'm losing it. So that's a little disappointing to me because I'm not a winter person, and I'm sorry if any of you are. Good for you. I'm happy for you, but I am not. I do not like the cold, and I do not like the snow, and it's pretty to look at from the window on Christmas Eve, but I expect by Christmas afternoon, I want to see grass and trees and blooming flowers, and I'm just a warmer weather person. So this is obviously that I did not get the bottom of this thing cut straight, so I'm going to cut it straight now. Well, at least I'm going to make it match with each other. Doesn't mean it's straight. The imperfections. But anyway, in this case, in the other one I did put card in, but in this case I'm not going to. It added to a lot of the bulk, and I just would have rather kind of kept it more soft. And you know that as this glue dries, this gets a little stiffer, a little more, board-like. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to do more inking around the edge because now I have more white edges. And I do my inking, doing my inking the way I do, and people might say, oh, why don't you just ink it all at once? Well, the reason why I don't is because I think I said in the first, it could have been last night, or it could have been in another one of the videos, I'm not sure. I like to try to ink each piece individually because if there is an imperfection, then, something where it doesn't quite line up, sometimes you can't get the brush or the dauber or whatever it is you're using into the little, crevice that it's left. And there's this white line or whatever color line for whatever you're using. And the other thing is that I have a tendency sometimes to get a little glue happy, and the glue will come out over the edge, and I'll wipe it away and it looks like it's gone until you try to ink. And when you try to ink over it, the glue doesn't want to take it sometimes, or it takes it as a slightly different color and you can see it. So if I have inked the pieces before and I do get glue oozing out on the sides, and I can wipe it away, and usually you still won't, there won't be an issue. You won't see, there won't be an issue there. Now I'm looking at this, and because it is the color that it is, I'm going to push this back, and I'm going to do what I did before, and I'm going to bring that color in a little bit more, and I'm going to do it for all of them. So as quickly as I can. I'm hoping I'm not off camera. I was trying to adjust the camera so that it would come a little bit closer so that you can see a little bit better what my hands are doing, and maybe less of the mess on my desk, but more for, the detail for what I'm trying to show you when I kind of lift it up to the camera. So that is my thought. Now I'm still going to go around the edge because I like that little extra dark edge on things when you're doing it, when you're doing this kind of thing. So get that one. I think I did that one already. And let's ink this one up. And again, I'm hoping that I'm in camera at least for part of it. We'll get that part done. And that is my dog Gus, who insisted on coming down here with me and now is barking to get out. So, and that sounds like my husband walking to I'm in the basement, walking to the door to let my dog back upstairs. Gus is a yellow lab, and he's about the sweetest thing you'll ever find. He's just a darling. So, okay, so we have that. So now what we're going to need, which I don't have with me, so I'm going to try not to make any noise with my chair, and I'm going to get up and get some muslin. I made noise. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm talking to you from a distance. Any of you who watch Gail Augustinelli, when she has to get up and get something, she tells you to talk amongst yourselves. So talk amongst yourselves. I'm not going far. I'm just back here trying to find what I did with my muslin. Okay, I'm a little closer now, so at least I don't have to shout. And we're going to grab a piece of this. I have to snip it and tear it. Of course, I'm upside down with it. Okay, I swear I'm coming. I swear. Okay, there's that. And that. All right, I'm just going to leave it right there behind me. Okay, hopefully I did it long enough. All right, so I'm going to get this just a little bit more. Okay. Whoop, what's that? All right, so let me move this back down. And let me get my ink out of the way. Actually, yeah, I think I'm going to do this first. And again, my apologies for not being able to edit yet. I promise it will come. I'm going to try to see where I want to snip this fabric, if I can tell. And so I don't want to cover a lot of the image. So I'm thinking, what about here maybe? That should be enough. Okay, so we have a piece there. And get rid of these guys. And we're going to do this about the same size, preferably. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this with some coffee, and which is back here, so excuse my arm, excuse me. Keep some in this little bottle. And then I'm going to do that nasty thing, which is the heat gun. But this will, and I have a little thing on here that doesn't want to spray sometimes. So let's get that in there. If I have to, I'll pour it out if I have to. All right. But you know what? I think I'm gonna, for the sake of time, let's just pour a little bit out and let's run these guys right through it. Just squeeze it in. Get a paper towel and wipe up the excess. Okay. Just gonna put this up here. And I am going to plug in my heat gun, and I do apologize for the noise. Hopefully this shouldn't take too long, and it should be done. Now here in my little basement corner, I just dropped my ruler, I only have two plugs, so I have to unplug one to plug something else in. So that's that one. Let's get these guys unraveled a little bit. And if you want to grungy them up a little bit more, just run your ink over them once they're dry. And then it'll make it better. I don't think anybody is hearing my dog barking. And it's kind of a long walk to let him upstairs. Okay, so here we go. Smells good. I can tell you that. I don't know how well you can hear me over the sound of this. Try to get them as dry as I can. I think that'll be good enough for now. Just put that over there. Actually, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm just going to take my ink. I'm going to go over them a little bit more. Give them a little bit more of this kind of a well-worn look. It's amazing. I love these distress inks. Absolutely love them. All right, let me move these And I'm going to bring this back down so I can work on this mat a little bit better. Okay. All right. So this is what we're going to do then. We're going to decide where we want it. We're going to get out our Fabri-Tac. Get this little piece off. There we go. All right, and that is over here. I'm going to put a little edge, if I can get this off. And we're going to just run a bead along the edge here, pretty close to the end. Because I don't, like I said, I don't really want to cover too much of the design because it's so pretty. And then I just have to make the decision on how much I actually want to cut off when it comes right down to it. Let me pull that in just a little bit. Okay. Now, if you remember when I was talking about the other one, and it's kind of buried under the other piece, I wanted to leave a little bit more of a gap here than I do on the other side, because the other side is going to flip in, so you need a bigger spine or margin here than you do with this piece. So that's what I'm going to do here. In this case, I'm going to run this along here, if I can not pick up all the threads. Oh, Gus, can you come here and lie down, honey? And then we're going to just line this up, hopefully, pretty evenly. Left a little bit of a gap here. I'm just going to rub some of this extra glue out of the middle for the most part. Hopefully, I'll rub it out. There it goes. It's picking up some of the ink, but that's all right. Okay, then we're going to glue this piece here. Oh no, we're going to glue this piece here. Okay, I'll get it. Good thing I flipped it over. We'll glue this piece here. Go right along the edge. Put that down. I guess I have that up a little higher. I may decide to leave this. I may decide to trim it with the tag ends. I'm not sure at this moment. So we have that, and like I said, let's pull that out just a little bit more. There we go. Then we're going to put this piece here, and this gap is going to be just a little narrower than this one. I'm going to glue that on here. I think I got enough there. I've got more than enough there. Try to get that to lay flatter. And this is going to be just a little narrower than the other one. Ah! See, it does give you a minute to move it around. Okay, I want to make sure I have enough to take the pad of paper that's going to go in, but not so much that it doesn't need to be bigger than that one. So it's just slightly. I'm going to clean that up in a minute because I've got extra glue out here. It's just slightly narrower than the other one. Let me get a wipey thing here. I'll clean up this board some. This poor cutting mat is, oh my goodness, I don't know, probably 10 years old. It's done pretty well, but I've managed to make a little bit of a mess out of it. So anyway, I still don't know if I'm going to cut these off or not. So for right now, let's put this one away. Well, yeah, I'll put it over here. And now these are our papers that are going to go in here. What I want to do first is I want to put pockets in. So that's how it's going to fold. Okay, let me dry this off. It's just a little, I don't want to make the paper wet. So I have to decide what I want for pockets then in here. So again, if I'm looking at my cover, we have the green. So I'm wondering if maybe we want to do, and since since we have this burgundy color on this page, even though you won't see that, when this is closed, it picks up the burgundy, and it also picks it up there as well. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to use the burgundy color, which I have to reach for, so excuse me again. A little piece back here. Hey, come here. Which is this. And we're going to make our 3 little pockets. I also think I am going to take, hopefully you won't see my big head in this. I'm going to use this because get this piece back out here. When I did this, I put a little edge on these pockets because, again, it's just the copy paper, just a thin, in this case, a thin scrapbook paper, and I just wanted to keep, reinforce the edge a little bit. So that's what I'm going to try to do with these, and I think I'm going to use this color. So I just have to decide how big I want them, and hopefully when we're done with this, we will wrap it up for the evening. So I'm going to go here, and then from that piece I'm going to go here, and from that piece, I'm going just, if you can see where the mark is, I think you can see where the mark is, I'm going, let me fold this up, I'm going just a little bit in from the mark on this paper, okay, right there. I'm measuring in and then measuring in. So that gives me my 3 pockets. 1, 2, 3. Okay? I'm going to do my best to try to cut this straight. I don't know how well this is going to work. And again, I've got my huge ruler here. So I am going to try. I think what I'll do is I'll put it along here and see if, I'm hoping this bottom piece is relatively straight. And I'm just going to line that up with my blue lines on my mat. I'm just going to cut straight down here and get rid of this piece. Okay, here, same thing. We line this up somewhat straight. And then line this up with my mark here and the lines here, top and bottom. Try to get them even. I know you can't, well, I don't think you can see the top up here, but, and you know what? I could probably get 3 right out of that, can't I? So that's probably even better. We just have to decide how big we want them. So I'm thinking right about here, however big that is. So that would be about 1, and I think my mark is at 5/8. So 1 5/8. I'm going to do it from the back. I will mark these. That's not straight. So let's try to get this guy straight. I've got a little bit of a bulge here. There we go. And it doesn't matter if it isn't exactly the same width that I intended. It's okay. It's still going to make a pocket. So we'll do 1 5/8. I can get that here. 1 5/8. And then, for the sake of not trying to count, I'm just going to move it. 1 5/8. And look at that. I have to put my heat gun away now. Hopefully it's cool enough. And we'll line this up again. On here. Try to make it as straight as possible. If I can make it move, that's pretty good. And then line it up on my mark with the blue line on my cutting board. And that one goes away. This one is about there. And we'll move this guy over to a line. So that makes it a little bit easier. Come on, one more. There we go. And then we have that one. So then all we're going to do with the gold piece then is to just cut it as wide as one of these. And then I'm just going to cut and it doesn't have to be, one side needs to be straight, obviously, the side that's going to be showing, but the inside doesn't necessarily have to be. So we're just going to cut a little bit of this. Get these guys out of the way because I don't want to cut them by accident. And we're going to try to make this as straight as I can. Okay. And I don't need much. I just need a little piece. And then I'm just going to cut these strips. So I'll go about here. That looks about even. Gussie! And like I said, we don't need much. 1, 2, and 3. And that one's not straight, but that's okay. The one side is, and that's all I need. So let me get this out of the way. We're going to ink these. We're almost there. And here's one of those things, one of those dark things that you can't tell. So I'm going to go kind of along the edges and try to bring that color in a little bit. So it does show, if you can see, if you do it like that. Okay. And I still have to determine what's going to go in the pocket, but that's easily done later on. And yes, I know I'm inking all the way around, but knowing me, if I only inked on 3 sides because one side's going to get these strips, I'd end up gluing it on the wrong side anyway. So this way it doesn't matter. I get it all no matter what. Okay, we're going to bring this back down and move these guys out of the way. All right, and so what we're going to do here is we're going to start with the crooked piece. Oh, you know what? I need to ink them too, don't I? And this is, my fingers get covered, absolutely covered with ink. I usually have vinyl gloves down here because I use them especially when I'm dyeing the ribbons and you know, whatever I'm using the ink puddles for. But after, and I'll reuse them, I'll clean them and I'll reuse them. But after a little while, you'll get a little tear or a little hole. You don't see it until you go to take the gloves off, and then you see you've got like blue thumbs or something, because there was actually a hole in there that you didn't see. So I have a tendency to do that, and I do have to bring some more pieces down. So I am going to get these on. I'm just going to glue right along the edge. I'm going to try to make it as straight as possible on here. It's slightly shorter, but that's all right. And I'm going to let that sit for a minute while I glue the other ones down. This guy. Try to make them about the same distance in. Just fold it over a little bit. And then this one, because that's the crooked side. So we're going to glue from here. This needs a little more ink on it. It's a little too low. Okay. That's giving me an optical illusion. Try to look from the side. Definitely down too far. Okay, there we go. I think that's a little better. All right. Okay, let's go back to the first one. And I'm just going to, well, the little bit of a fingernail I have, sort of score it right along the edge. I don't think I did score it right along the edge. I scored it in. Okay, and that's where we want to go. And try to get it right along the edge of that paper. So that's what you're left with. Just a little bit of a decorative piece on the end. So we're going to glue that down. This reinforces the pocket, so when you're taking a tag or journal card or whatever it is in and out, it should, you know, it'll help hold the paper. It'll hold up. So that's one. And again, they may not all be exactly in the same place. Also, for the sake of trying to get this done in a reasonable amount of time. I think I've already been here. That's not too bad. I've already been here probably for, oh, I don't know, half an hour or 40 minutes. So it's really getting to be time to wrap this up. For the sake of downloading it and for your sake of not having to sit here for very long with me, watching me do some of this stuff because I don't know how to edit yet. So let's try to get that down. That needs to go down a little bit more on the side. And it's a little bit better. I think it's a little crooked, so I'm just going to pull it in a little more and a little out. We'll compensate a little bit. It's been a little bit better. So let's get a little more glue on here. Put that down. Before we glue these in place, I want to sew in the pieces. So what I'm going to do is I've already got these cut, and I'm not inking these. I'm just relying on whatever the paper is. And what I'm going to do here is when I sew this in, I'm going to sew this over just a wee bit so that, actually this one's okay. I'm going to fold, this one's going to be folded over. So this one's going to fold in this way. I'm going to sew that one in. And then this one I'm going to sew just a little bit closer here so that when this folds in here, it gives me that much more of a gap. I'm going to stitch it closer to this green rather than in the center, and then that will fold over and lay flatter for us. And that is more or less what we're looking at. So I think what I'm going to do though is, for the sake of time, I think we'll pick this up. I do want to show you what I mean once I get it in. Well, actually I can sew it and then show it to you in the next video. So for the sake of time, I think that's where we're going to leave this for tonight. So like I said, this one's going to go basically right down the center is fine. This one is going to get sewed just a little closer to the green on this side to give us more of a gap here for this to fold in. And then it'll fold over a little bit neater and it'll lay flatter. So if I sewed it tonight and showed it to you tonight, it's the same thing as sewing it off camera and then showing it to you next time. So I think that's what we're going to do. But that's where we're going to be with this. And I think I'm probably going to trim these because I think they look odd, at least on the top. So that's it for tonight. I will do a little bit more on this and try to explain what I did do. Some of the things I do just want you to see what I'm trying to do because it's easier to see it than to just explain it. And I think we're going to save the cover for, I'll get all the pieces ready for that, but that is going to be one thing that we will put together. So hopefully we'll have most of this finished. I want to show you how I do the muslin pocket to reinforce the bottom and the sides. Nothing fancy, but I think it helps. And so those are the things that I wanted to show you. And the other thing I did want to show you too when we get there, because I probably may have this, well, no, I won't have it done. Instead of the twine that I colored and braided in the other book, again, like I said, I wanted to make this just a little bit more ribbon, a little bit more lace, trims in here. I took this ribbon these 3 colors that I had dyed, and I braided that to make the edge that's going to go along the pocket, along the muslin pocket that's stuffed with all the journal cards and tags. So that's what this is for. So I wanted to show you how I do that, and then I think what we're going to do is we're just going to take this and we're just going to cut this with the scissors, snip it off, and kind of let it just, I don't know, we're going to see how that works. In any case, I thank you for being with me tonight, and hopefully this won't take long to download and upload, and it works tonight, and you'll have it, well, later tonight if you're still awake, depending on where you are, or in the morning for those of you who are overseas. You'll see it in the morning. So, well, in your morning, it'll be in the middle of the night for us. But okay, have a blessed day, everybody, and thanks again for stopping by Rose Lane, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.